You were not born for chaos. You were not carved by the stars to be a servant of confusion, lost in the noise of the world. You came through blood and breath to remember who you are. And even now, as your name echoes through the chambers of your doubt, there is an ancient part of you that is untouched, still, whole. Put your name in salt water. Write it down. Submerge it. Let it dissolve, slowly, into the currents of your own purification. This is not a ritual for the world. This is a ritual for the soul. For the name you carry holds not only who you are, but everything you've allowed yourself to become. Your fears, your regrets, the voices you swallowed just to be accepted, the masks you wore to be loved. They said you had to be soft or silent. They said not to want too much, not to shine too brightly. They taught you that desiring peace was weakness and asking for more was arrogance. But I tell you this, the lotus is not ashamed of the mud from which it grows, and the mountain does not apologize for standing taller than the trees. You have forgotten the sacred violence of your own becoming, the storms you endured, the truths you buried, the mirrors you avoided. You survived winters you never speak of. You carried entire lifetimes in the silence between your words. But now it is time to burn, not in anger, not in hatred, but in clarity. Because the fire of wisdom is not a destroyer, it is a revealer. And when you put your name in salt water, you are not erasing who you are. You are cleansing what you are not. You are remembering the stillness that existed before the pain. You are returning to the discipline of the ancient path, the razor's edge between illusion and awakening. A way so narrow, most will never walk it. A truth so sharp, most would rather sleep. But not you. You are here because you've been broken open enough times to finally see. Because beneath all the noise of modern life, beneath the algorithms and ambitions, beneath the constant need to be seen, is the quiet. And only the quiet knows the way. Let me speak now to that quiet inside you. Let me take you to the mountain. The mind is a wild horse, trained by merchants, fed by thieves. It pulls you through deserts and tells you you're thirsty, while dragging you past rivers you can no longer see. You do not suffer because life is hard. You suffer because you believe your thoughts. And yet the mind is not the enemy. It is a servant, a powerful one. But it was never meant to be your master. In the monasteries of old Japan, we were taught not to destroy the ego, but to understand it, to sit with it like one would sit beside a raging fire. You do not leap into it. You do not flee from it. You observe. You listen, because the ego is not evil. It is just afraid, and it tells you stories. Every moment, every breath. Stories of what you cannot do. Stories of how you are not enough. Stories of the world as cruel, and love as dangerous, and stillness as laziness. But listen carefully. Every time you believe a story that weakens you, you feed the very prison you are trying to escape from. So, what must you do? You must build a new mind, not by force, but by attention, because what you give attention to, you give life to. And the moment you place your name in salt water, you are announcing to the universe that you are ready to stop living by default. You are ready to choose clarity over chaos, purpose over popularity, vision over validation, to choose the fierce, gentle work of presence. You are not here to impress the world. You are here to remember who you were before the world told you who to be. And that remembering begins in the silence. Breathe. Do not be deceived by the surface of things. The people who appear most confident are often the ones most lost. The world applauds noise, but the sacred watches the ones who are quiet and unshakable. Discipline is not punishment. It is devotion. It is the act of returning to what matters, again and again, especially when you don't feel like it. The warrior does not train only when inspired. The sage does not meditate only when it is convenient. And you, if you are to reclaim your life, must stop waiting for perfect conditions. Perfection is the enemy of awakening. The Buddha did not wait for silence to begin. He sat beneath the Bodhi tree while the world still burned. And you, in your modern chaos, your noisy apartment, your crowded phone, you too must sit. You too must return. Return to your breath. Return to the question, what is mine to do? Because not everything that calls you deserves your answer. Not every invitation deserves your presence. You must become selective, not out of arrogance, but out of alignment. Your energy is your prayer. Where you place it matters, and there are thieves everywhere. Not just of time, but of attention, of dignity, of soul. You cannot live with open windows forever. At some point, you must close the door to what does not nourish you, and say, I'm not angry. I am awake. Let me tell you a story. There was once a monk who wandered alone in the forest. Every morning he would write his name on a small scroll and drop it into the river. When asked why, he replied, "Each day I offer the false self back to the waters, and each night I dream a little less. You are not your habits. You are not your fears. You are not even your thoughts. You are the watcher, the flame, the stillness between the waves. And when you stop identifying with the noise, you gain power, real power, the kind they can't take from you, the kind that doesn't need followers or titles or applause, the kind of power that stands quietly in a room and shifts everything without saying a word. This is what you came here to reclaim, not your name, but your essence. And sometimes the first step is to let your name dissolve. In salt water, there is something ancient that stirs when water meets salt. It is not superstition, it is memory. Because long before you were a name, you were an intention, a pulse, a vibration sent forth by the universe, not to repeat history, but to remake it. And when you sit with this saltwater ritual, you are not casting a spell. You are declaring war on unconsciousness. You are returning your spirit to the sacred geometry of awareness. To believe that this is just water and salt is to miss the point. Just as to believe that you are only skin and bone is to forget the soul you carry. What matters is not the ingredients. What matters is the sincerity. Because the universe does not respond to noise. It responds to resonance. And when you align your body, mind, and intention, when you breathe your truth into the water, when you write your name with reverence and release it into the stillness, the universe listens. The veil thins, the old patterns begin to crack, and what once felt impossible begins to feel inevitable. This is not magic. This is alignment. It is the sacred mathematics of cause and effect. You plant in the invisible, and the visible must respond. But know this: nothing blooms without first breaking the ground. You may feel resistance. You may be tested, not because the ritual failed, but because it worked. Because the universe must now move everything out of your way that does not match the vibration of what you've asked for. That might include people. That might include jobs. That might even include parts of your identity. Let them go. Let them dissolve in the same way your name begins to dissolve in the water. You cannot carry old maps into new lands. Clarity. This is what you seek. Not comfort, clarity. Because once you see clearly, your suffering cannot survive. You will begin to notice how you have been trading your peace for approval, how you have let opinions sculpt your self-worth, how you have allowed distraction to become your God. But once the eye of the spirit opens, it cannot close. You will see how many of your dreams were not even yours. How many of your desires were whispered into you by fear. Clarity is dangerous to the old self because it awakens the warrior in you, the one who no longer tolerates mediocrity masked as safety, the one who does not flinch at solitude, the one who walks away from comfort toward calling. And that calling will not be loud. It will not shout over your phone. It will whisper at 4 a.m. when the world is quiet and your distractions are sleeping. Remember. That's all it says. Remember what you came for. Remember who you were before the world told you to forget. And when you do, when you truly remember, your energy becomes unmistakable. People will feel it before you speak. Doors will open. Paths will reveal themselves. Not because you forced anything, but because your vibration is no longer hiding. You will no longer beg to be seen, because you will have seen yourself. Purpose. This word is thrown around like a charm, as if it's a thing you find. But your purpose is not a destination. It is a frequency. You do not find it. You remember it. And every moment you act in alignment with that frequency, with integrity, with truth, with fire, you are living it. Purpose does not always roar. Sometimes it whispers through your choices. How you speak, how you listen, how you walk into a room and change the air without trying. Purpose is not just what you do. It's what you are becoming through what you do. And if you want to amplify that becoming, you must eliminate everything that distorts your signal. This is why salt water matters. Because clarity is not gained in noise. It is gained in purification. You must strip away, peel back, and yes, it may hurt. But not as much as living a life that isn't yours. There is no greater agony than dying with your song still in you. And you know, you feel, that your song has not yet been sung. So begin, not with perfection, with intention. Write your name. Submerge it. Let every bubble that rises from that water be a lifetime of lies leaving your system. Let every ripple be a whisper from your higher self, saying, I am ready. I am aligned. I am home. Discipline. The world has lied to you about discipline. They said it was rigid, that it killed joy, that it was the enemy of spontaneity. But in the old temples, where silence taught more than words ever could, we knew the truth. Discipline is the highest form of self-love. It is how you protect your energy. It is how you become immune to distraction. It is how you build a life that is rooted in what is real, not what is urgent. You do not brush your teeth because you are inspired. You do it because it is who you are. The same must be true of your spiritual practice, of your rituals, of your boundaries. Discipline is not about control. It is about remembering what matters when the world tries to make you forget. So, if you say your life is sacred, then treat it that way. If you say your energy is precious, then protect it. If you say your name has power, then do not speak it cheaply. Place it in salt water, not because the water will save you, but because you are finally choosing to. Because rituals do not make us powerful. We make rituals powerful. Action. This is where most falter. Not because they do not know what to do, but because they are waiting to feel ready. But readiness is a myth. It does not come before you move. It arrives as you move. In Buddhist philosophy, the wheel of Dharma turns not because it waits, but because it flows, with or without you. And life is the same. It does not stop for your indecision. It does not pause for your fear. So you must act, not with recklessness, but with reverence. Because every action you take from an aligned place becomes a seed, and those seeds do not die. They wait, in silence, in stillness, until the moment is ripe. This is why you must be precise with your energy. Do not act from desperation. Do not act from ego. Act from truth. Act from clarity. Act as one who knows the universe is not outside of them, but moves through them. And when you do, even the smallest step becomes sacred. You may not see the results immediately, but results are not your responsibility. Alignment is. The Tao does not rush, yet everything is accomplished. And so must you trust the sacred unfolding, the unseen choreography, the divine patience that is asked of all warriors of light. Let others chase speed. You build depth. Let others shout for attention. You vibrate so deeply that reality bends toward you without a word. Gratitude, the oldest key, the final gate. Without it, all things spoil. With it, even the smallest thing becomes holy. In the sutras, it is said that gratitude is the mother of all virtues, that to live without gratitude is to walk blindfolded through paradise. But understand this, gratitude is not passive. It is a weapon, a shield, a frequency that dissolves scarcity and multiplies whatever it touches. To be grateful for what you already have is to declare that you are ready to receive more. And the universe, ever intelligent, responds not to need, but to readiness. So speak gratitude as a ritual. Wake up with it on your tongue. Let it be your first language and your final prayer. Say thank you not only for what has come, but for what is coming. Not only for what is easy, but for what is hard. For the hard things shape you more than comfort ever could. Even in the chaos, find one thing, just one thing, to say thank you for, and the light will enter through that crack. This is how energy works. What you honor expands, what you bless multiplies, and what you ignore withers. So keep your gratitude close. Keep it stubborn. Let it be unreasonable. Let the world call you naive, and let the blessings prove them wrong. Adaptability. This is the mark of the awakened. Not rigidity, not blind faith, but flow. In Buddhism, water is the supreme element because it yields, but is never broken. It moves around obstacles. It carves mountains. It does not resist the shape of the vessel, but in doing so, it becomes formless, unstoppable. You must become the same. If life shifts, you shift. If the path changes, you walk it anyway. If the door closes, you knock on the next, or build your own. The awakened one is not attached to how the blessing arrives, only that it will. You must understand, your ritual is not about controlling the future. It is about aligning with it. There is a vast difference. The universe owes you nothing, but it reflects everything. You do not command it with entitlement. You co-create with humility. So, adapt, let go of fixed outcomes. Shed the need to know how. And in that surrender, you will find a freedom that cannot be stolen. You will walk lighter, speak less, but say more, need less, but attract more. Because you will no longer move as a beggar, you will move as a current. Resilience. There will be days when nothing makes sense, when the salt water has dried, when your name feels like a stranger, when the weight returns, heavier than before. This is not failure. This is the next layer of your strength being forged. Steel is not born from silence, but from fire. And you have been called to endure, not as punishment, but as preparation. Resilience is not about pretending everything is fine. It is about remembering in the darkest hour that this too is a part of the path, that no storm lasts forever, that even the most sacred temples have weathered earthquakes and risen again. So do not run from the pain. Sit with it. Let it teach you. Let it cleanse you of your illusions, because true strength is quiet. It is the breath you take when all else is breaking. It is the refusal to let one moment define you. It is the courage to begin again when no one is watching and nothing is guaranteed. You may fall, but if you fall in alignment, it is not failure. It is grace in motion. So rise, not because you have to, but because you can. Learning. This is the true ritual. Not the water, not the salt, not even the paper that carries your name. The real ritual is how you live, how you learn, how you rise from every wound with a mind sharper, a heart softer, a spirit stronger. Because in Buddhist wisdom, enlightenment is not some distant summit. It is the choice you make in each moment to respond with awareness instead of reaction, to replace judgment with curiosity, to trade blame for responsibility. You are not here to be perfect. You are here to awaken. And awakening is messy. It requires that you shed skins, break patterns, outgrow identities. It asks that you grieve who you thought you were, to make space for who you are becoming. The salt water was never meant to fix you. It was meant to reveal you, to show you what happens when you choose intentionality over impulse, depth over distraction, devotion over disarray. That paper with your name, it was only a mirror, and what you saw in it was not just your desires. You saw your readiness. You saw the echo of the ancient within you, the one who remembers the vows you made before this life, the one who has walked many lifetimes to arrive here, now, again. And you knew, this time, you will not forget. So, now, look at your hands. The same hands that wrote your name. The same hands that have held grief, carried burdens, built dreams. These are sacred hands. Do not let them waste their power scrolling through a life that isn't yours. Do not let them reach for comfort when they were built to create change. Use them. Lift others. Bless yourself. Build the world you were born to remember. This is your responsibility, and also your birthright, because no one can do your work for you. But you were never meant to do it alone. All of nature conspires with the one who moves in truth. So move. Walk like your breath is a prayer. Speak like your words shape worlds. Act like your time is holy, because it is. And if the world forgets, remind it, with your silence, with your strength, with your stillness that trembles the unseen. You came here seeking change. But change is not something you find. It is something you choose. And you just did. The moment your name touched the water, a new current began. You may not feel it today, you may not see it tomorrow, but energy does not lie, and the unseen moves first. So trust the current you just created. Follow it. Nurture it. Speak to it with reverence, because what you asked for is already on its way. And when it arrives, do not be surprised. Do not call it coincidence. Call it remembrance. Call it alignment. Call it what happens when you finally say, I am no longer available for anything that is beneath my calling. I will no longer shrink to be digestible. I will no longer abandon myself to be chosen. I choose myself, and not the shallow version, the full, radical, holy self, forged in stillness, tempered by storms, bathed in salt, and resurrected in light. So take this wisdom with you, not as theory, but as fire. Let it light your steps. Let it cleanse your past. Let it burn away every excuse that ever whispered you are not enough. You are not broken. You are becoming, and you are right on time. Now, go. Write your name in salt water and watch the universe remember who you are, not just your desires. You saw your readiness.